Friends, the story of Moses is powerful. It is a tale of faith, courage, and divine guidance that has inspired countless generations. Moses, a man of humble beginnings, was chosen by God to lead his people out of bondage and into freedom. He was chosen by God. This divine selection was not just a random act, it was a testament to Moses' character and his unwavering faith in the Almighty. From the burning bush to the peak of Mount Sinai, Moses' journey was marked by miraculous events and divine encounters. He led the Israelites out of slavery. This was no small feat. The Israelites had been enslaved in Egypt for centuries, and their liberation was a monumental task. With God's guidance, Moses performed miracles, including the parting of the Red Sea to ensure their safe passage. Moses was a faithful servant. His faith never wavered, even in the face of immense challenges. He constantly sought God's guidance and remained obedient to his commands, demonstrating what it means to be a true servant of God. He heard directly from God. This direct communication was a unique privilege that set Moses apart. It was through these divine conversations that Moses received the Ten Commandments, a set of holy laws that would shape the moral and spiritual foundation of the Israelites. God gave Moses the Ten Commandments. These were holy laws. They were not just rules, but a covenant between God and his people, meant to guide them in their daily lives and ensure they lived in accordance with his will. They were meant to guide the Israelites. These commandments provided a moral compass, helping the Israelites navigate the complexities of life and maintain a close relationship with God. It was a way for them to live in God's blessing. By following these commandments, the Israelites could ensure that they remained under God's protection and favor, experiencing his blessings in their lives. Moses was at the end of his life. As he neared the end of his journey, he reflected on the incredible path he had walked with God and the people he had led. His heart was filled with a desire to prepare them for the future. He gave a series of sermons. These sermons were not just speeches, but heartfelt messages filled with wisdom and guidance. Moses wanted to ensure that the Israelites were ready for the challenges and blessings that lay ahead. These are found in the book of Deuteronomy. This book is a treasure trove of Moses' teachings, capturing his final words and instructions to the people he had led for so long. He wanted to prepare the people. Moses knew that his time was coming to an end, and he wanted to ensure that the Israelites were spiritually and morally ready to enter the promised land. They were about to enter the promised land. This land, flowing with milk and honey, was the fulfillment of God's promise to the Israelites. Moses' words were meant to equip them for this new chapter in their journey. They still hold true for us today. The teachings of Moses, especially those in Deuteronomy, are timeless. They continue to offer guidance, wisdom, and inspiration to people of all ages and backgrounds. They remind us of God's love and faithfulness. These teachings are a testament to God's enduring love and his unwavering commitment to his people. They encourage us to live lives of faith, obedience, and devotion. Let's explore his powerful message in Deuteronomy 4. As we delve into this chapter, let us open our hearts and minds to the timeless wisdom and divine guidance that Moses imparted to the Israelites and see how it can transform our lives today. Deuteronomy 4 is a call to obedience. Moses reminds the Israelites of God's goodness. God brought them out of Egypt with mighty power. He did miracles, but God had expectations. He gave them laws. These laws were not to restrict them, they were to protect them. They were for their good. Obedience brings blessing. This is a constant theme. When we obey God, we honor him. We show him that we trust him. Moses wanted the Israelites to prosper. He wanted them to experience God's best. He knew that obedience was the key. Moses reminds the people of their past mistakes. He recounts the incident at Baal Peor. This was a low point in their journey. They worshipped false gods. They faced God's judgment. This event serves as a warning. It reminds us of the dangers of disobedience. Turning away from God always leads to trouble. But God is a God of forgiveness. He had spared them. He gave them another chance. Moses wanted them to learn from their mistakes. He pleaded with them to choose a different path. Moses emphasizes the wisdom of God's laws. He says they're not burdensome, they are not too difficult to understand. God's laws are for everyone. They are for all people, in all times. They are a reflection of His love. They provide a framework for a fulfilling life. When we follow God's wisdom, we find life, we find peace, we find joy. This is the path to true fulfillment. This is what God desires for us. Section 5. Passing the torch, securing the future. Moses was concerned about the future. He knew he wouldn't be around forever. He urged the people to teach their children. They needed to pass on God's laws. These truths had to be ingrained in their hearts. They needed to share them with the next generation. This was vital for their survival. We must do the same today. We must teach our children about God's love and faithfulness. We must equip them to live a life of purpose and meaning. Section 6. The peril of idolatry, a dangerous path. Moses warns against idolatry. He knew the temptation. The Israelites were surrounded by pagan nations. It would be easy to fall into that trap. Idolatry is a dangerous path. It leads us away from the one true God. It distracts us from what truly matters. We can have modern idols too. Things can take God's place in our lives. These can be possessions, relationships, or ambitions. We must guard our hearts against anything that could replace God. Section 7. God's everlasting covenant, a beacon of hope. This covenant is not just a historical artifact, it is a living promise that continues to inspire and guide us today. Moses reminds the people of God's covenant. He stood before the Israelites, a people weary from their journey, and spoke words of reassurance and commitment. This is a promise that God made to Abraham. He would bless them. Abraham, a man of great faith, was promised descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. He would make them a great nation. Despite their trials and tribulations, the Israelites held on to this promise, knowing that their journey had a divine purpose. This covenant was still valid. God is faithful. The Ten Commandments served as a tangible reminder of God's enduring commitment to His people. This covenant is a source of hope. Just as a rainbow follows a storm, God's promises bring light and hope to our darkest moments. It reminds us that God is always with us. In times of joy and sorrow, in moments of doubt and faith, His presence is a constant. He will never leave us or forsake us. This assurance gives us the strength to face life's challenges, knowing we are never truly alone. This covenant extends to us today. It transcends time and culture, uniting believers across generations and geographies. We are children of Abraham through faith. This spiritual lineage connects us to the patriarchs and matriarchs of old, making their stories our own. We are heirs to God's promises. These promises are not just for the past, but are alive and active in our lives today. We can have confidence in His faithfulness. As the sun rises and sets each day, so too does God's faithfulness remain unwavering, a beacon of hope for all who believe. Section 8. The blessings of obedience, reaping the rewards. Moses highlights the blessings of obedience. He promises prosperity, protection, and long life. He paints a beautiful picture of God's favor. These blessings are not just material, they are also spiritual. They include peace, joy, and a close relationship with God. When we obey God, we experience His goodness in every area of our lives. We experience His peace, His joy, and His love. This is God's desire for His children. Section 9, standing out from the crowd. Embracing God's uniqueness. Moses emphasizes the uniqueness of the Israelites. They were God's chosen people. They were set apart for a special purpose. They were to be a light to the nations. This uniqueness came with responsibility. They were to reflect God's character. They were to live differently. We are called to be different too. We are called to stand out from the crowd. We are to reflect God's love and light in a dark world. Section 10, a call to remember, keeping God's laws close. Moses gives a final plea. He tells the people to remember. Remember what God has done. Remember His laws. These memories are powerful. Remembering God's faithfulness strengthens our faith. It gives us hope for the future. We must keep God's word close to our hearts. We can meditate on it day and night. It is a lamp unto our feet. It is a light unto our path. Section 11. Conclusion: choosing obedience, choosing blessing. Friends, we are at a pivotal moment in our spiritual journey. Deuteronomy 4 is a powerful message that resonates through the ages. It is a call to obedience, a call that echoes in our hearts today, just as it did for the Israelites. This chapter is not just a historical account, it is a living, breathing directive for our lives. It is a call to align our actions with God's will. It reminds us of the importance of God's word, urging us to meditate on it day and night, to let it guide our decisions and shape our character. It highlights the dangers of idolatry, warning us against placing anything above our Creator. We have a choice, a profound and life-altering choice. We can choose to obey God, to walk in His ways, and to experience the fullness of His blessings. Or we can choose to go our own way, to follow the fleeting pleasures of this world, which ultimately lead to emptiness and despair. Obedience brings blessing. Disobedience leads to trouble and heartache. Let's choose to follow God with all our hearts, to commit ourselves fully to His path. This is not a one-time decision, but a daily commitment. Let's teach our children to do the same, to instill in them the values of faith, obedience, and love for God. Our example will be their guide. Let's be a people who reflect His love and light to the world, who shine brightly in the darkness, offering hope and direction to those around us. God bless you, and may you walk in His ways always.